Digital Salon is a curation of listening experiences produced by the alumni and affiliated members of the Urban Humanities Initiative at UCLA. Even as urban space reinvents the enclosure, Season 2 seeks out collectives situated in the city. If our first season asked how the pandemic is a portal, in our second we asked how, within such a time, can we gather? And what do we share? In this podcast that we call Collective, we tune into the knowledge that communal work transmits in polyvocal frequencies and interlocking scales.
And for our first episode, we take you to the scale of global memory as a collective group of sound artists and architects walk us through the streets of Beirut, past and present, to reflect on collective trauma, grief, and healing.
Hi, so nice to hear from you. Wow, your message was heavy, not in a bad way or a good way. It's just, I just got back from Beirut, so everything that you're talking about, collective memory and trauma and, reflections on humanity and urban spaces. I mean, I don't even know where to begin because the trip was so intense, and walking through the city, in lockdown, after, I had an experience walking in Beirut when I first got there, walking downtown, and the city was under total lockdown, so there wasn't even like a car on the street. And so I walked for the first time in the city in silence in the sunlight, and I went down to the port area close to the blast site, and I walked for maybe 7 hours. I walked every day there. I couldn't stop walking. And the port area and the surrounding areas have 3 layers of destruction now. You have the Civil War destruction architecturally, from the 80s, and then you have all of the destruction from the protests that have been happening in October, the tagging and the broken storefronts, and then just the decimation from the explosion, aside from COVID and the financial meltdown of the country and everything else that is happening. And I was walking through the city, and there wasn't even, I might have seen 2 or 3 people the whole afternoon, in total silence, just walking through the destruction. And I get emotional just thinking about it now. It's a very intense feeling that I'm not even sure how to process yet, to be honest.
I have never been to this place before. I am now looking at the map. It slowly loads in me. It lands in my mind in the form of fragmented thoughts and scattered images. On the map, I can see numerous streets with a collage-like layout of darker patterns leading towards its center.